The problem with our society can be found with Snow White and what's going on with Snow White. We have too many people that don't know what it's like to, and Ed Repperman, because when they went out on tour for publicity, she starts in with all of her political nonsense. And that wasn't helping.
Let's dive into one of the most talked about Hollywood disasters in recent memory. Disney's live-action Snow White remake, and the storm it created around its lead actress, Rachel Zegler. Picture this. A star once hailed as the next big thing in Hollywood, sitting alone in a nearly empty theater, watching her own movie flop in real time. It sounds like something straight out of a tragic indie drama, right? But this was no fictional scene. It was reality for Zegler, and the world got a front-row seat to the spectacle, all thanks to the power of social media.
In this elite group of Disney princesses. Can you believe it?
No, not at all. It's unbelievable. I mean, I look at that girl and I have no idea what I'm looking at. It's really quite wonderful to be a part of the Disney family, and obviously to join the league of so many wonderful live-action princesses, but also so many that have been depicted in animation as well. This is the flagship animation that made Disney what it is.
It was March 25th, 2025, just days after Snow White had hit theaters, and the buzz surrounding the film was already dismal. Rachel Zegler, along with a few of her closest friends, her most loyal cheerleaders, to say the least, decided to face the nearly deserted theater and watch her movie. And of course, the internet didn't miss a single moment. Hilda Mason, one of the friends in her group, took to Instagram stories to document the cringeworthy outing, capturing Zegler awkwardly cheering for herself as her name flashed across the screen. The theater was so empty it practically became a meme. People online joked that the empty seats were part of the movie package, questioning whether they'd rented out the theater to dodge embarrassment, or if the rows of vacant chairs were just a painful reminder of the film's dismal box office performance. The optics, absolutely brutal.
There's been so much buzz about this and about you. What's it like hearing people say all these really nice things?
It's very validating. A lot of hard work has gone into this film, but so much love, truly, speaking for myself and also for the filmmakers behind it.
Numbers tell a brutal story. Asterisk Now White Asterisk scraped together just $35 million during its Thursday previews, and its opening weekend brought in a mere $43 million domestically. In comparison, Disney's other live-action remakes, like Asterisk The Little Mermaid Asterisk, raked in a staggering $95 million in its debut. Asterisk Now White Asterisk wasn't even in the same league, more like an amateur trying to compete with the pros and failing miserably. To make matters worse, Asterisk Snow White Asterisk had a production budget exceeding $250 million, not even counting marketing costs. That's a massive investment Disney likely won't see returned anytime soon. Rival studio executives and box office analysts have already branded the film a financial disaster, with some predicting it may not even hit $300 million globally. For a blockbuster of this scale, it's not just a flop, it's a belly flop from the high dive.
Crying on that stage.
When am I not crying in public? It's so upsetting.
Why were you crying?
Oh my gosh, I saw the well, we didn't even see, but I saw the logo and I went, that's my name, Snow White's up there, and I cried my eyes out.
And of course, the internet had a field day. Social media was flooded with empty seating charts from theaters across the country, photos of lone audience members sitting in rows all by themselves, and sharp-toned commentary about the movie's flop. Some users jokingly suggested starting a crowdfunding campaign to help Disney recover its losses, while others sarcastically posted, "Welcome back to reality, princess," taking aim at Rachel Zegler's past comments about her supposed star power. One viral video even showed someone holding up a asterisk Snow White asterisk popcorn bucket and souvenir cup, asking a theater employee for tickets. When the employee innocently asked, "For which movie?" the camera zoomed in on their confused expression. The internet thrives on irony, and Snow White delivered it by the truckload.
Yourself as the evil queen. You are not evil. You are not evil. You're a queen, but you're not evil. What was it like seeing yourself as the evil queen for the first time?
We did not see the clip, so I still haven't seen anything. But when I was in makeup, just like she said, we got to work with such an amazing crew, and it was just like the best it could ever be.
Let's not forget about Rachel Zegler herself. This wasn't just any actress dealing with the fallout of a flop. This was someone once hailed as Hollywood's next great leading lady. After her breakout role in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story she had the Golden Globe, the industry buzz, and the magnetic charm of a fresh face poised to take the world by storm. And yet, here she was, at the center of what many are now calling one of Disney's biggest missteps in decades. The contrast between her rapid rise and her current predicament couldn't be more glaring.
Everything. I feel so lucky that I got to play something that is so far from what I know and what I'm used to, and I super enjoyed every second of it.
Adding fuel to the fire, an old clip of Zegler resurfaced online, and let's just say it didn't age well. In the video, she confidently proclaimed that people would be lining up to see her films, even comparing herself to the winged victory statue at the Louvre. Despite my flaws, my cracks, and my breaks, she said, people will wait in line to see me. Fast forward to now, and the only lines forming are on social media, where people are queuing up to roast her. Critics were quick to point out the irony, with one user quipping, "The only thing people are lining up for is to buy popcorn and leave." Ouch.
Made her movie debut as Maria in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. Now she dumps the sharks for Seven Dwarfs. Disney's Snow White opens in theaters Friday. Please welcome Rachel Zegler.
Speaking of irony, Rachel Zegler's relationship with her Snow White co-star, Gal Gadot, also became a focal point of the drama. On the surface, the two appeared all smiles during the movie's press tour. But behind the scenes, things were a different story. Reports of tension between the actresses began to surface, with insiders claiming their professional relationship started to sour as the promotional campaign went on. Things took a particularly awkward turn during the 2025 Oscars, when Zegler and Gadot presented together. While the pairing seemed friendly on stage, eagle-eyed fans caught onto some subtle digs in Zegler's Instagram posts afterward. In one particularly shady comment, Zegler referred to Gadot as a professional pageant queen, a remark many took as a dismissive jab at her co-star.
You have to audition for Snow White, or like, oh, they saw you in West Side Story, they're like, you're Snow White?
West Side Story was kind of nowhere near coming out. We were about like 6 months away from release and no footage had been seen. And I actually got a really glowing recommendation from Steven Spielberg to Mark Webb, who directed Snow White, saying that. And I also got a text from Steven kind of alluding to the fact that I had gotten the part before I had found.
The drama didn't stop there. Zegler's political statements also became a lightning rod for controversy, alienating potential audiences and giving Disney executives a major headache. In one particularly infamous incident, Zegler took to Instagram after the presidential election, writing, "May Trump supporters never know peace." The backlash was swift and intense, with critics accusing her of alienating a significant portion of moviegoers. Already reeling from the film's lackluster reception, Disney reportedly scrambled to do damage control. Producer Mark Platt even flew to New York to personally urge Zegler to tone down her rhetoric. Despite their efforts, however, the damage was done.
No, like, was it a secret project when you auditioned for it?
With all of these Disney things, it's like the Marvel, Star Wars,
Right.
Disney live actions. You have no idea what you're reading. It'll say like untitled Disney live action film, and the sides will have different names. It'll say like Amber and Jeff. And so I was reading for Amber, an untitled Disney live action.
Political tensions didn't end there. Zegler's pro-Palestinian posts on social media reportedly caused friction with Gal Gadot, who, as an Israeli actress, had already faced her own share of backlash for her political views. The situation became so heated that Disney was forced to increase Gadot's security during promotional events. An unprecedented move that highlighted just how toxic the environment had become. Insiders claimed that Zegler showed little understanding of the impact her statements had on the film, her co-star, or the studio. It was yet another chapter in the ongoing saga of Snow White's troubled production.
Your family's like a bunch of Disney, like crazy Disney people,
Yeah, they
right?
are,
Including
yeah.
your dad?
Yes, my mom and dad's wedding song was A Whole New World from Aladdin.
Wow.
I was bred for this.
Would they take you to Disneyland, Disney World when you were a kid?
I went to Disney World. Truly, like, that was our vacation, our yearly vacation, the four of us, my sister and my parents and I. And they go without us now.
As if all of this weren't enough, the film itself became a lightning rod for criticism long before it even hit theaters. From the decision to cast a Latina actress as Snow White to the modernization of the storyline, every creative choice seemed to spark outrage. Zegler's own comments about the original 1937 film, where she described the prince as a stalker and criticized the focus on Snow White's love story, only added more fuel to the fire. "We didn't do that this time," she said, drawing backlash from fans who accused her of disrespecting the Disney classic.
You've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Then there was the issue of the 7 dwarfs, or rather, the lack of them. Actor Peter Dinklage famously criticized Disney's decision to include dwarfs in the film, calling it hypocritical to push for progressiveness in one area while perpetuating outdated stereotypes in another. In response, Disney chose to replace the dwarfs with CGI creations, a move that was met with widespread ridicule. Fans quickly mocked the CGI dwarfs as lifeless and creepy, arguing that the decision not only erased representation for actors with dwarfism, but also stripped the film of its charm.
It's important to speak about her because Disney picked her to be a princess, right? They're doing all these remakes, and they decided they were going to remake Snow White, and they cast Gal Gadot as the Wicked Witch, and they cast Rachel Zegler as Snow White, and it's been interesting casting because this woman is extraordinarily woke, as everyone is in Hollywood, but she's woke in a way that's quite direct.
All of this culminated in a subdued premiere that felt more like a sigh of resignation than a celebration. Instead of the usual glitz and glamour, Disney opted for a low-key event in Los Angeles with no red carpet and no press allowed. The European premiere was similarly muted, held in a castle in northern Spain, rather than the usual fanfare of London's Leicester Square. For a film with a $270 million price tag, the lack of confidence was glaringly obvious.
Like, you get cast for Snow White, and of course, if you are a business like Disney, you are leaning into what the movie Snow White meant to the people that were raised on it. People like me who watched Disney princess movies when the world was okay, and it was acceptable for us to dream about being a princess as a woman and meeting a handsome prince. But oh no, these big bad feminists now are telling us that's ridiculous. How dare you want to meet a handsome prince?
Where do we even begin with the chaos that followed Disney's Snow White asterisk? If you thought the behind-the-scenes drama and box office disaster were bad, you haven't seen anything yet. This entire production became a masterclass in how to turn a beloved fairy tale into a lightning rod for controversy, and the fallout just kept piling up. From casting backlash to bizarre marketing decisions, and even the storyline itself, every move seemed to dig the hole deeper for Disney. Let's break it all down.
So anyways, they have been making this film for a very long time because it's just been so scandalized. And so they had to basically put it on ice after people were firstly outraged by Rachel Zegler speaking ill about the prior film.
First, let's talk about the casting of Rachel Zegler as Snow White. A decision that was meant to be a bold, progressive move for Disney, but ended up sparking outrage from the moment it was announced. Snow White, a character famously described as having skin as white as snow, being played by a Latina actress, sent the internet into a frenzy. Critics accused Disney of pandering, while others questioned why Zegler had accepted a role that seemed so at odds with her own identity. Zegler didn't hold back in responding to the backlash, firing off a now-deleted social media post that read, "Yes, I am Snow White. No, I am not bleaching my skin for the role." She even called her critics losers obsessed with maintaining the bloodline purity of a cartoon princess. While some applauded her for standing her ground, others felt her combative tone only added fuel to the fire. And let's be honest, when you're the face of a multi-million-dollar Disney project, diplomacy might have been a better approach.
What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
Casting controversy was just the tip of the iceberg. Zegler's own comments about the original 1937 Snow White film added an entirely new layer of drama. In a 2022 interview, she described the storyline as weird and criticized the romantic subplot, calling the prince a stalker. There's this big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird, she said. So we didn't do that this time. While Disney had already hinted that the remake would modernize the story, Zegler's blunt take came across as dismissive, almost as if she was trashing the very film that made the franchise iconic. Fans were outraged, questioning why someone who seemed to dislike the original story so much would agree to star in its remake. The backlash was swift, with one social media user summing up the sentiment. "If you hate Snow White so much, why are you Snow White?"
Totally stable thing for her to be posting, wishing harm upon Trump voters, wishing that we have no peace. And I actually thought she wrote the exact statement, Skylar, that she wanted us to have, like she wished explicit.
The changes to the storyline didn't stop at the prince. Oh no, Disney took a completely different approach to the Seven Dwarfs, and that decision backfired in spectacular fashion. Actor Peter Dinklage, known for being outspoken on issues related to dwarfism, slammed Disney for what he saw as their hypocrisy. In an interview, he called out the studio for patting themselves on the back for casting a Latina actress, while still telling a story about 7 dwarfs living in a cave. His comments sparked heated debate online, with some agreeing that the portrayal of the dwarfs was outdated and offensive, while others argued that Dinklage's criticism was erasing roles for actors with dwarfism. Clearly caught off guard, Disney scrambled to address the controversy. They announced they would take a different approach to the 7 dwarfs, which ultimately meant scrapping the beloved characters entirely and replacing them with CGI creations.
Believe that there's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. But the reality is she's just not stable. Like the majority of people in Hollywood, they're just not stable human beings. And it's this rat race to constantly be seen and to constantly say things that are like just atrocious because they're looking for attention and they can never have it.
The CGI dwarfs were a total disaster. When the first images of the digital characters leaked online, fans were horrified. Gone was the charm and personality of the original animated dwarfs, replaced by stiff, lifeless creations that looked more like video game extras than beloved Disney characters. The backlash was swift and brutal, with fans flooding social media with memes mocking the CGI designs. One user tweeted, "Disney really replaced 7 iconic characters with these creepy avatars. Who thought this was a good idea?" The decision not only alienated fans of the original film, but also reignited criticism of Disney's inconsistent approach to inclusivity. In trying to avoid one controversy, it seemed they had created an entirely new one. As if all of this weren't enough, Disney's marketing strategy, or lack thereof, raised even more eyebrows. For a film with a production budget north of $250 million, you'd expect a massive promotional campaign, right? Wrong. The marketing for Snow White was unusually subdued, almost as if Disney was trying to sweep the film under the rug. Premiere events were scaled back significantly, with no traditional red carpet press at the Los Angeles premiere. Instead of the usual glitzy affair, the European premiere was held in a castle in northern Spain, a setting that felt more like a low-budget publicity stunt than a celebration of a major release. Critics and fans alike couldn't help but notice the lack of confidence. One insider described the situation as Disney going through the motions, saying it felt like the studio just wanted to get the film's release over with.
And helping the movie, hey, Snow White, yeah, let me tell you about Palestine and Israel and how bad Israel is and how bad Trump is. Okay, that's not going to help sell the movie. You've just divided the country in half, so you've lost half of the revenue we could have had because you pissed off half the country.
Relationship between Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, who played the evil queen, was supposed to be a dynamic pairing, but it quickly turned into yet another source of drama behind the scenes. Reports suggested that tensions between the two actresses reached a boiling point, particularly due to their opposing political views. Zegler's outspoken support for Palestine reportedly created significant challenges for Gadot, an Israeli actress who has faced her own share of backlash for her political stances. Things escalated so much that Disney had to increase security for Gadot during promotional events, an unprecedented move that highlighted just how toxic the situation had become. The icy dynamic between the two stars was impossible to miss, even during their few joint appearances. Fans picked up on the awkward tension, with one viral tweet joking, "The real drama isn't in the movie. It's between Snow White and the evil queen in real life." The drama hit a peak when Zegler posted a glowing tribute to the cast and crew on Instagram, thanking them for what she described as a life-changing experience. Notably absent from her heartfelt post was any mention of Gadot. Fans quickly noticed the omission and speculated that it was yet another subtle dig at her co-star. "How do you forget the evil queen?" One user commented. The snub only added fuel to the rumors of a feud between the two actresses, making it clear that whatever camaraderie they may have shared during filming was long gone by the time the movie hit theaters.
I never would have imagined that I would get to be Snow White. So truly just for people to see someone who looks like them, someone who represents a dreamer, no matter what they look like or where they come from.
Here's the thing, despite all the drama, Disney was banking on nostalgia to carry Snow White to box office success. After all, this was the studio's very first animated feature, a film that had defined generations of childhoods. How could it fail? Well, apparently, even nostalgia has its limits. The combination of casting controversies, storyline changes, lackluster marketing, and behind-the-scenes drama created a perfect storm that audiences couldn't overlook. The film's dismal box office numbers were a clear testament to that, with analysts predicting it would struggle to break even, let alone turn a profit. But the story of Snow White's failure feels like more than just a cautionary tale for Disney. It's a reflection of the increasingly polarized landscape of Hollywood, where every creative decision is scrutinized, every casting choice debated, and every comment amplified. In trying to modernize a classic, Disney seemed to alienate both longtime fans and new audiences, leaving Snow White stuck in a no-man's land of unmet expectations. As the curtain falls on this Hollywood saga, one can't help but wonder, could Disney have done anything differently to save Snow White from its disastrous fate? And what does this mean for the future of live-action remakes and the stars who lead them? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Did Rachel Zegler's political statements play a significant role in the film's downfall? Or was it a combination of poor marketing and controversial creative choices? Let us know what you think. Until next time, keep the conversation going, and thanks for watching.